All right. I turned the camera on. I did this a couple times and forgot to turn the camera on. And so every time I redo it, I'm thinking I'm going to like not talk so much. First of all, I need to mention that it is 35 degrees now, summer-like weather here in northern Michigan, so I can work in my pole barn. I can make a short spurt before it gets cold again, unheated, and I work without my gloves on. Do a couple paddle bows. One is called for, one isn't. I can't really take any special orders for those because I'm at the mercy of the weather, so it is what it is. If you see them on YouTube and they're not sold, you know, you can buy them. Otherwise, until spring, really, I can't really get into that. I do have a group of long bows, narrow, deep round belly. Not really a fan of that, and so I'm going to redo those. Some stave-made bows that I have just laying around. So I'm going to have some stave-made bows made kind of like this, kind of like that one I made for Nathan. A couple will be sinew-backed, a couple will be rawhide-backed, one or two will be self bows. And so just keep your eye out on YouTube for that. I'll say, look what I have, shooting them, like the bows, I have a price for them. There we go. No commission work. I do not have an eBay store anymore, so you know, for the fine folks that ask me that they want to see my eBay store, don't have one anymore. This is in response to a very good question I had on string follow. String follow. I want to make a point that there's a difference between string follow and damage done by poor stringing technique. If you don't have the pressure when you're stringing at the tips and center of the handle, you might create a hinge in your bow. Different situation than string follow. That may or may not be able to be corrected with heat and then bending it back and then retailoring. Different situation. If you have a bow that has string follow, do not necessarily be destroyed by it. Do not feel bad about it. We have in our mindset this thought that only bows that have reflex are good bows. To some degree, there are a lot of bows out there that have string follow. There are a lot of bows that have string follow. To some degree, smaller degrees, it's not a bad thing. When the wood bends and then responds, goes back to its original position or close to it, elasticity, I believe that to some degree, every bow will reach an equilibrium. Every good bow will reach an equilibrium where the belly side will compress to a certain degree and then stop having permanent deformation beyond that point. Same with tension. So they will change a little bit. If they change too much and it gets to the point where you have this much string follow, let's say, you know, the distance between the handle and the string is that when it's unstrung, something should be done, or else just, you know, you don't use that bow. But I'm more in favor of repairing the bow than just setting it aside. And there's some things you can do. I want you to analyze your bow. Look down the length of the limb, and what you want to see through this portion that should be bending, you know, the longer the length is and bending, the better it is, because you're distributing the bend. If you see a constant bend through here, like on this little frog bow, it bends. It has string follow throughout the entire length of bending. So that's a good situation. If I looked down here and saw that it was straight, and then there was like a hinge, and then it went straight again, that spot's bending too much. So you might be able to correct that by clamping it down, bending that bend out of there, and then heating the heck out of it, either, you know, over the stove top or coals or a heat gun, whatever, to straighten it up and then retailor it. I would probably suggest lightening the bow. Remove some of the draw weight from it. Remove some of the pressure. You had that situation that you corrected. Make it easier on the limbs by retailoring it as a lighter bow. Another option might be, keep in mind, if you recurve something, you're going to add pressure to here. So I can't tell you in absolute terms that if you have some string follow, because, you know, it depends on the design of the bow, the material, the amount of string follow, the draw length, everything. It may be possible just to recurve it, because if you had constant string follow here, or you cured a hinge and reduced the weight of it, that wood may have hit its wall. It might not want to deform, gain any more permanent deformation. So you might get away with, after you lightened it, recurving it. I wouldn't thin it out anymore in the recurves, because if you're not going to back it, you want to have more meat up here through the bends, so you're not going to pull your recurve out, or you give it a better chance to remain in recurve. Another option, if you have what you feel is too much string follow and you really like this bow, it's like, I really want to see this bow succeed, I would suggest maybe a little swoopy recurve, or not. It's not 100%. Again, every bow is a different situation. Maybe shortening it a little bit and sinew backing it. You have to be really careful if you grease this finish to make it so you can glue sinew to the back. That's a whole other kettle of fish. If it's a grease finish, probably have to use a lye solution. But sinew will take a bow. If I was to sinew back this thing, this little frog bow, it's going to be a much heavier bow. At this length, it'll probably raise it at least 10 pounds in draw weight. But that sinew, as it shrinks, will bring it into reflex, and it'll gain an advantage of that sinew, probably keeping it in reflex. It won't get string follow. Another option would be, string follow, you know, recurving it a little bit, and you want to support that back so you're not going to get that string follow back, rawhide backing it. So how can I conclude this so it makes some sense? Because again, every single bow is a completely different situation. The weight of it, how much string follow, the kind of string follow, is it an even amount, or is it kind of hingy there that you should correct, you know, with heat or something before you back it? There are ways to do it, but you really have to be a problem solver. I wish that I could give you a better clear-cut answer, but the best I can say for a clear-cut answer, if you're not getting any creisels, if you don't have compression issues, if it's just string follow, recurving and backing with rawhide, or recurving or not in sinew backing. Sinew back it, shorten it a little bit, and then retiller it to your draw weight. With that, I shall say thank you for watching. I'm going to make bunny tracks, which I mean, got warm weather, I'm going to make use of it. Have a great day, and thank you for watching, and I hope I managed to answer something. It's a complicated question. It's a tough ball of yarn to unwind.